So I'm very happy to be here today, and I'm here today because I am supposed to be a rebel. And I'm going to leave that choice and decision up to you. You guys can decide. So basically, I was born and raised in Mississuga by my two biggest heroes, my mom, Liz, and my dad, Fritz. Aw. So I have a really close relationship with my parents, and I actually think that's pretty cool. And it's a real testament to the job that they did bringing both my brother and I up. The coolest thing about our relationship is that my parents have basically shared with me their love of physical activity. So to this day, I still paddle with my mom twice a week when she can make time for me in her training program because she is a dedicated athlete. And I ride my bike every weekend with my dad. And we're not just talking like a cruise down a city path. We're talking 60, 80, 100-kilometer rides. And my dad pretty much pulls me the whole way. So it's pretty amazing. I guess overall, they've just taught me how to make great lifestyle choices and have really modeled how to live your life to the fullest and how to stay active and make that a big part of your life. So basically, growing up, I did everything social convention has told you to do. So I worked hard in high school. I was a good student, not a great one. I engaged in extracurricular activities, which in my case, it was all sports. And I went out and I chose the most grueling, most punishing sports that you could find. So I did rowing, I did cross-country running, I was a Nordic skier, and I ran distance track and field. So from there, I carried on my passion for sport to university. I attended the University of Western Ontario, and I completed a degree in kinesiology. And all the while, I also trained hard on the varsity women's lightweight women's rowing team. And that came with a lot of success as well. It was a lot of fun. From there, I came back home and I retired from rowing after about 10 years of rowing and decided I wanted to move on. So I went back to my roots and I actually went back to paddling because I had done it as a kid in Port Credit. So I've spent a lot of time going up and down the Credit River. From there, I decided to go to U of T and I decided to go to Teachers College. So ever since then, 2002, I graduated, and I've been going strong ever since, and I am a teacher now at Glen Forest Secondary School in Mississuga, and I teach high school phys ed. So I feel like I have the greatest job on earth. So if you're looking into doing that, it's a wicked job. From there, basically what happened when I came back from university, I started paddling again, like I said, and I got involved in dragon boat. And it was really amazing. We went to Vancouver our first summer, and we were able to qualify as the women's national team. This led to 8 years of success with the team, traveling to 4 world championships, the first one being in Poland, where we competed and we won the Nations Cup. All these people in this picture are probably my closest friends, even still to this day. Then we traveled to China in 2003, where we had even more success and lots of fun. And from there, we went to Berlin, and we competed there. And again, the women's team swept all 4 women's events, and we carried that forward into Sydney, Australia in 2007, again, sweeping all 4 women's events. Okay, and that's me right there at the front of your picture at the front of the boat on the right-hand side. I also split my time, or my training, also with sprint canoe. And we were practicing pretty much with dragon boat and sprint 12 to 14 times per week. So that's practicing twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. And we also had lots of success in sprint. And this is my training group and my coach, Larry Kane, who was an Olympian, okay, and an Olympic gold medalist. So pretty good opportunity. So in 2008, I retired from paddling. And it was sort of my last year of focused competition, but it sort of brought on 2009, sort of a year of new beginnings where I was going to be able to do things that I had been interested in doing in the past. So I started running half marathons. I had done 2 previously, and this one I wanted to, get a personal best time, and I was really aiming for that. But also what I didn't know is that 2009 was going to bring on a rebellion, my rebellion. So what happened was I was training for this half marathon in 2009, and it was April, and I wasn't feeling like myself. I'm pretty connected to my body, and it just didn't feel normal. I was having these pains in my abdomen, gut-wrenching, like doubling over, lasting for about 30 minutes at a time. I even had to leave work once. I was sick to my stomach. The pain was so bad. But these would pass, and it really only lasted for 2 weeks. But on top of that, I was really tired, uncharacteristically. So of course, I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, you know what, we're gonna send you for some tests. Those tests were done in duplicate, triplicate. This lasted for 7 months until I finally had to put my foot down and say, you know what, if you're outside of your scope, that's okay, but refer me somewhere that they can help me. So obviously something's not right. But all the while, I kept my training up. I just kind of kept doing my thing. And finally, I was referred to Princess Margaret Hospital to see Dr. Sarah Ferguson. And she basically confirmed that I needed to have surgery like yesterday. So I was booked for surgery probably a week and a half away from that appointment. And that's when my rebellion began. So on December 15th, I had surgery, and probably the longest day of my life. I was lying in this hospital bed. I woke up from my surgery, 36 staples running down my stomach, and basically at the end of the day, she came in to tell me that I indeed had stage 3 ovarian cancer. Crazy, eh? So after a lifetime of healthy, active living at the age of 32, I was going to start my rebellion. I wasn't going to let this get me down. At the time, I was in a hospital room looking out onto University Avenue. 2 months earlier, I had run that half marathon, apparently full of cancer, to a personal best time. So I don't know how that works, but now I was starting my rebellion, and the rebellion was this chemotherapy treatment and what was to come in the next sort of, 12 months. So I approached the chemotherapy like I would a training program, and the medication like vitamins. And I fought the side effects the best way I knew how with physical activity. So I walked. I carried my medication around in a Ziploc bag. I took my medication as prescribed, which isn't easy when you've got 13, 14 different vials that you've got to manage. And it definitely was something that I wasn't used to. I also did restorative yoga, and I also did a Pilates video at home. All pretty lame by my standards of exercise, actually. I also got out and skied a few times, and believe me, this almost killed me. I couldn't breathe. The medications they give you, they really affect your lungs. But luckily, I'm all covered now, so no more breathing problems. And I was all working towards the end goal, ringing the bell in the chemo daycare center on my last day of treatment, which I did do, and also looking forward to a 10-day trip to Barbados with my boyfriend that he had graciously planned for the two of us to take. Woohoo! So when something like this happens to you, you're in a very vulnerable position. And for me, cancer is something that was going to try to take all my confidence in myself away. Everything that gave me confidence in me, I felt like I couldn't do. So all of my physical activities, I had a lot of questions. What was going to happen to my body? Would I ever wear a bikini again? Seems pretty shallow, actually, but I was worried about that. I was worried about my hair. As a woman, if you lose your hair, you kind of feel naked. Now, I shaved my head, and actually it was very liberating. It made me feel tough. So it wasn't as bad as I thought, and it actually looked better than I thought, too. I don't know. The other thing was my relationship. I was really worried about what was going to happen. Was this too intense for my boyfriend to take? Was this something that he wanted to have to deal with? However, that was wasted energy. This is him actually administering some of the medication that I had to take to boost my white blood cell count. So everything was all good. He was a total rock and more than capable to help me through this. You can't get through something like this without support. This gentleman, his name is Manny Martinez, and I spent most of my time during my chemo with him. And this is on my last day of treatment. So Manny was so amazing. He was like sort of made chemo like no big deal. Basically, I came in every day and he put me at ease. He did everything right. And I was really, really bad at getting the IV, and that's how they administer the chemo. So he was really good. So what I did at the end of my treatment is that I nominated him for an award that the Toronto Star puts out annually called the Nightingale Award. And so I wrote a poem, and I submitted it, and it got selected. So I was really happy. It totally made my day, and I'm just going to read you a little bit of the poem. It's quite long, so I'm just going to read you a couple lines. The fear of the needle made me cry, but Manny thread the needle on the first try every time. Without him, my treatment would have been a lot more scary. He coached and advised me and left me less hairy. It's true. So he didn't win the award, but he did get one of 3 honorable nominee awards and also a story about our experience together in the chemo daycare unit. And it was more than I could have asked for. So he was key. My parents were amazing. My dad was incredible, as was my mom. My dad basically split the time with Cliff, my boyfriend, taking me to and from all my appointments. And my mom looked after me at home. She cooked, she cleaned, she made sure I took my medication the way I was supposed to. My brother provided comic relief, and he also sort of had my back. Our relationship actually was better because of this experience. So I know my brother better, and I'm actually thankful that it happened for that reason. That's my fan. My boyfriend Cliff, of course, he works in healthcare, and he went along with me on this crazy journey. He suffered all the side effects alongside of me, all of the anxiety, the body aches, the sleepless nights, all of those things. And it just proved to me that we were right for one another. My girlfriends rallied around me with support. These are all my ladies from paddling. As well, at my mom's gym, they put on a spin-a-thon for me to help cover the costs of travel to and from the hospital, as well as parking costs. So it was a pretty amazing event. Tons of people came out that I didn't know to support me, which was amazing, blew my mind. So it's key to have support and to recognize the people that have helped you. My uncle rode the Ride to Conquer Cancer and raised over $10,000 on his own for the cause. My friend Rachel threw a party so that I could buy a wig. So it was a wig party, and it was in the middle of my treatment. It was in February, and I started my treatment in January. So, you know, it was really, really a tough time, but everyone came together, and it was the pick-me-up I needed. Here I am in my wig at the party, and it was anything but a somber event. My brother DJ'd it, people were dancing, it totally went off. My friend Marisha, she was in the hospital room pretty much the day after I had my surgery. She was a total rock. She's a lawyer, she's a stellar athlete, she's my mentor, and she really had my back throughout. So after it was all over, of course, I went to Barbados. I celebrated. I stopped, I pressed the reset button, and that summer, the summer of 2010, I started to get back into all of my activities. I had to prepare to go back to work in September of 2010, and the first thing that I was going to do was go on a canoe trip with a grade 11 class. So I sort of went out and practiced before I went. My boyfriend and I took a trip to Algonquin Park. I got back on the water out in my C1 training. My mom and I even did a race together in July of 2010 in Outrigger. I started stand-up paddleboarding just like I had wanted to. That was one of my goals for 2009. I'm paddling some more Outrigger. My dad and I trained for a cycling event in Ohio that we had done in previous years as well. It's a double century, so you ride 100 miles one day and 100 miles back the next. So we did go and do that, and here I am coming into Columbus on the second day. I also got back into sprint canoeing. This is last summer. I raced at the Canadian Championships at the Nationals in Welland. And this is just a couple of weekends ago. My dad and I are preparing again to go to Ohio to do our double century. So what do I want you to take away from this? Basically, I want you to listen to your bodies. If your body tells you something isn't right, it probably isn't. Show gratitude and appreciation for those that do things for you, that help you out. Say thank you, tell them how great they are. It goes a long way. Ask questions. Just because someone wears a white coat doesn't make them right all the time. You can challenge people. Be active with your family and friends. It allows you to get to know them on a different level. Set goals and work hard. No one can ever take those things away from you. And find a balance. Be as passionate about something as you are about your school and your work. Okay? So for me, that was sport. I'm as passionate about my sport as I am about my job and about teaching. And lastly, never say never. Anything in life, things happen and you never know what's going to happen, but you have to believe that you have the tools to manage and to deal with them. And I learned that from my experience. Thank you very much.